Have you wondered what I mean when I talk about leaving the struggle or immunity? Well, Linnea, a member of our community, has had a massive breakthrough and is seeing this so very clearly. She has seen that it's not about having a perfect night every night. It's not about never feeling anxious. It's about how we react to circumstances in our life. And when we see that there is actually no control to be had, we are on the path where Linnea is heading, a path to freedom, easier sleep, and an easier life. In this episode of Mind in the Comments, we're going to look at her massive breakthrough in understanding, see where it leads her, so that you can follow in the same path. Hi there, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician turned sleep coach, online educator, and founder of the Sleep Coach School, where we help health-conscious, highly driven individuals like yourself leave the struggle with sleep for good. Speaking of which, that is a phrase I often use, the phrase leaving the struggle, or I talk about immunity, or I talk about peaceful sleep and peace of mind. And Linnea, a member of our community, has really seen exactly what I mean when I use these words. And I saw this comment the other day, and I thought this is perfect for Mind in the Comments. It's one where we can learn a lot. It's also like a comment with a lot of hope, encouragement, inspiration for us. So let us, without further ado, take a look at this wonderful comment from Linnea again. Here it is. So this is a comment on that a video I made that's called, that has the thumbnail, 3 most overlooked insomnia recovery signs. And here is Linnea, who 4 days ago said the following: I just had a massive breakthrough in understanding what you mean by leaving the struggle. I've always thought of that saying as a way of describing complete recovery and normal sleep. But now I realize that leaving the struggle doesn't necessarily mean not having any sleep problems. It just means you don't struggle when sleep doesn't come. So when you have difficult nights, you just accept them. When you're tired the next day, you just accept it because you can't change anything. So you just flow through it, let it happen, not fighting against it anymore. I've had a really difficult period with speed bumps. And suddenly I reached a point where I really understood that I couldn't do anything. And now it's easier. I still have problems. I still think about sleep. I still get anxiety, but it doesn't seem to have the same hold on me anymore because I just accept it now. And it feels like it doesn't control me anymore. A really, really wonderful comment from Linnea. And when I saw it and saw that she had said that this is how I now understand leaving the struggle, I thought actually what she's also describing is the concept of immunity. Let's go over this in some more detail so we can all really learn from it. And the first thing I want to say is this one, that all of us humans will have choppy nights for one reason or the other. Maybe it's a sleep disruption from some medical thing we're going through, or noisy neighbors, or we're stressed about something at work, or we're worried about our kids. Something like that will keep us up at night. It will always happen for us humans. But that doesn't mean we need to struggle with it, because the struggle only comes if we're thinking of this as something we need to fix, right? If we introduce effort, fixing into an effortless process like sleep, that's when the struggle begins. Same thing with anxiety. We all feel anxious, I would say, on a daily basis about something. And that doesn't become a struggle unless we identify the fact that we're anxious as something we need to fix and problem solve and address and control and manage. Then it just becomes a fleeting emotion. So we all have choppy nights. We all feel anxious often, but that doesn't mean that we haven't left the struggle or that we are on the path to recovery or whatever we want to call it, right? That's the kind of like a key insight here. Now, to expand on this, I would say that struggling with sleep, or for that matter, any other version of this inner struggle, whether we call it generalized anxiety or PTSD or OTSD or chronic fatigue or whatever it is, it requires a chain reaction. To be an ongoing struggle, it requires a chain reaction. Let me illustrate. So let's say we have, we've had struggle with sleep and we have this choppy night, right? And that leads us to being really anxious the following day. And we're thinking about, how am I going to avoid this again? What can I do, right? And that leads to some type of safety behavior. Let's say we say, okay, tonight I'm going to go to bed earlier. I'm not going to go out, right? And then we wonder how the safety behavior is going to work. So we're kind of like checking ourselves, like, am I feeling more sleepy? Do you think I'm going to sleep tonight since I get to bed earlier? And this leads to a difficult night because, again, sleep is a passive process. Feeling calm is a passive process. Everything we want is this passive, effortless process. So introducing safety behavior and monitoring leads to a difficult night. Now, maybe you have a difficult night and we then think, well, there's really nothing I can do about these things. I've tried everything. And we sort of like actually feel like I've already had this choppy night. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we're actually less pressured. That becomes our reaction, less pressure. And then we're doing less monitoring. We're not we don't have any intervention and we actually sleep well. But then we react to that by feeling like victorious. I got this. I'm over it. I think I'm done with this. And then that builds pressure. And now we have performance anxiety. And that leads to a choppy night. And you see, like, my point here is that as long as there's a reaction to our reaction, to our reaction, to our reaction, the struggle goes on. But it has to be this chain reaction for it to be ongoing. So when we see that if at any step in this chain reaction, there is less of a reaction or no particular reaction, then the chain is no longer ongoing. Then the chain is no longer going to be there and the struggle is fading away. So any step that this chain reaction no longer is maintained leads to leaving the struggle, aka immunity. And so again, I see immunity not as a place where we're never having a choppy night, never having anxiety, or even never introducing any sleep efforts. We may have some sleep efforts. We may get a little bit into this kind of like the chain reaction may start, but eventually we see like, oh no, I don't need to maintain this. This is not helpful for me to maintain. There's no reaction required. There's nothing I can do actually to control this or maintain this. And then we're back to a peaceful state of mind. And that is like a key insight here. Linnea has seen that there is no control to be had. We cannot control our sleep, our emotions. We actually cannot even control our reactions to a night of choppy sleep, right? And so we no longer try to control any of that, then the chain reaction is no longer going to be there. And yes, this is a massive breakthrough in understanding, and it leads us to where we want to be. Not maybe immediately, but if we let this percolate and let this sink in, we'll find ourselves on this path that Linnea is on, where the struggle isn't completely over yet, but it's fading, and you have a sense of freedom and a sense of ease and a sense that things are heading where you want to be. So I hope this massive breakthrough from Linnea was helpful to you. Linnea, so glad you shared it with us, and I'll conclude there. Let me know what you thought in the comment section, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now. Hi, it's me, Daniel, and I hope you took a ton of value from the video that you just watched. Now, I know that insomnia can be incredibly difficult to navigate, especially if you're a high achiever, a type A person who normally knows exactly how to get things done. This is why I've put together a free course called The Festival of Understanding, which I think is a perfect starting place for you to leave insomnia land. It not only has instruction from me, but it is a live event. So it has questions from the community as well, both which you can learn so much from. If you'd like to join, just head over to our website, thesleepcoachschool.com, and click the link at the very tippy top. And if you join, we'll meet again in the Festival of Understanding.